What is going on, my YouTube friends? It's Trevor coming at you from the Tesla in FSD mode, and I wanted to talk to you guys yet again about MSTR stock. We saw a gigantic uptick. By gigantic, I mean a few percent. In MSTR price, which we know is directly correlated to Bitcoin today. So yeah, I wanted to talk about what I think the future of MSTR is going to be in this video. So yeah, guys, you like MSTR, you like Metaplanet, you like Tesla, you like asymmetric bets in the stock and crypto market, definitely smash that subscribe button, because that's what we talk about every single day. And we all try to make money on this channel, and we all try to have discussions in the comment section about what our price predictions are, as well as, you know, how we can all make some money over the next 5-10 years, you know, or even longer than that, with long-term investing channel. So yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel. Let me know how many shares you have of MSTR, as well as what your price target is for MSTR. Okay, so with that being said, yeah, we saw today MicroStrategy opened, or at least like in pre-market, I want to say it was like 240. That's basically what it closed at yesterday, right? And then last time I checked, which was just a few minutes ago, and it's 3:30 Central Time, so we're talking the market just closed. I want to say the MSTR price is around $255 per share, which is a huge, you know, pretty good uptick, you know. And not only that, but we saw Bitcoin go from at the lows yesterday of about 99K to about 103.5, 104K today. So huge deal, huge news. We're not going to just keep falling on Bitcoin. It's kind of goes along with what I was saying, that I thought the bottom in Bitcoin was 90K to 100K, right? That's what my personal opinion is. I'm just some humble guy on YouTube, right? Just giving you what I think about the stock market and the crypto market, so don't sue me if I'm wrong. But I just think there's too much buying power in Bitcoin for Bitcoin to just like continue falling, right? There's a certain point when, you know, Meta is worth almost 2 trillion. Tesla's worth over 1.5 trillion. Nvidia is worth 5 trillion, right? Like Google's worth over, I think, over 3 trillion now, if not like in the high 2 trillions. Amazon's worth 2.5 trillion. So like there's just a certain point where you've got, you know, the investor that likes to invest in big tech is much more likely to want to invest in a stock like MSTR or crypto like Bitcoin, you know, than like, let's say your average everyday Joe, your everyday Joe that doesn't really pay attention to this kind of stuff, right? So, but what I'm saying is like there's trillions of dollars, right? Just in the S&P 500 alone, like if you buy the SPY, you're getting like 30-ish% just big tech, right? So what I'm saying is like there's so much money that's flooded into big tech recently that if for some reason Bitcoin did just keep falling and falling and falling, it's like, wouldn't you, if you had a lot of money in a big tech stock, consider like trimming the position and going into something like Bitcoin or MSTR? I mean, I personally definitely would. Like, I'm super bullish on Tesla, right? Just like I'm super bullish on MSTR. But like tomorrow's Tesla's, you know, they're announcing the performance package, right? If Tesla went to like $600, $700 tomorrow, I would trim the position, right? And then I would go and try to find other assets that I think that are undervalued. You know, example is Bitcoin, MSTR. Like I would definitely, you know, trim that position if it got too much, you know, if it went too high too quickly, right? I'm not one to just sell stocks for no reason, but you know, if there's a lot of FOMO involved, there's a lot of guess and tell is what I like to call it, you know, basically like just a lot of people like to get into certain assets at certain times and create bubbles, right? So I'm not saying Tesla's in a bubble. I'm not saying Bitcoin is in a bubble. I'm not selling my MSTR. I'm not selling my Tesla. I'm not selling anything right now. I'm a holder and a buyer. That is it, right? But like if valuations get too crazy for me, I will trim, you know, take 10% off the top, you know, 5%, 15%, something like that, right? But like I said, right now, my personal opinion on the stock and crypto market is there's no bubble. And I think that holding my portfolio is what is best for me. So I'm going to hold my MSTR shares. I'm going to hold my Tesla shares. But like I said, there's a lot of people that think, you know, similarly to me, that are high net worth individuals that have the ability to trim positions when they get too large and to add to positions that they find undervalued. And that's the whole premise. That's what I've been trying to say. It took me 2 minutes to say it. I'm sorry, three minutes. I'm not sure how long. But the whole idea is that there's so much money, not only invested, but also on the sidelines, right? whether it be the US, Japan, all over the world. There is trillions of dollars in the sideline, let alone if you include the bond market, right? Which is what Michael Saylor is trying to take money from and allocate it to Bitcoin specifically, right? So if you think about all of the money on the sidelines that is going to get just eaten alive by crypto, that's how I feel. And if anyone wants to let me know in the comment section why I'm wrong, please let me know. Because no one that I've talked to yet has steel-manned an argument that says, no, all the money on the sidelines is not going to go to crypto. It's not going to get eaten alive by crypto. And there's tons of really prominent individuals, high net worth individuals that are much smarter, much richer than me, that are on the same boat as me that say, you know what, there's so much money on the sidelines just investing anyway, just in cash, let alone in bonds, right? That is ripe for disruption, right? So that's why I'm so bullish on MSTR specifically, and why I hold more MSTR than I do actually Bitcoin itself. Because I believe in Saylor's theory. I believe in the first mover, right? It's like Tesla was the first mover in EVs, right? Basically, there was other companies that, you know, made EVs and sold them, but like they didn't take, you know, this market by the horns, you know, and change it and disrupt and innovate, right? That was Tesla. Tesla did that. Now that's what MicroStrategy did starting in 2020, right? They completely pivoted their whole company, and they were the first mover in the crypto treasury industry, specifically Bitcoin treasury industry, right? So because of that, they've been a sponge for capital, right? So it's like they went from $1 trillion or $2 trillion market cap in 2020 to 2025. Here we are with a 70, 80, 90, $100 billion market cap. It's like if you compare their market cap and their stock price with other assets in the stock market, crypto, whatever, it's like it dwarfs them for the most part. I'm sure there's some assets that have done better than MSTR, but like if you want to compare it to the S&P 500, I mean, there's no comparison, right? And so that's really what I'm getting at. That's why I think that MicroStrategy is going to just absorb capital from here on out, really. I mean, they've been doing it for the past 5 years, and I really don't see any sort of catalyst for any sort of change in regards to them absorbing capital, right? Like I said, their entire business model hinges on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin doesn't do well for whatever reason, then yeah, MSTR is not going to do well. And that's why I don't have 100% of my assets in MSTR. I actually own more Tesla shares than I own MSTR shares. But at the same time, like I can stomach the volatility of, you know, MSTR is down today, but Tesla's up huge, right? That's why I have a diversified portfolio of 10 baggers, 100 baggers, right? That's what I want. I'm 31 years old, right? So I have the opportunity to take a little bit of risk, right? Now, that being said, I don't take risk in my entire life, right? I just take a little bit of risk in my brokerage, right? So, you know, in my 401ks, I'm more diversified. I've got some S&P 500. I've got some Tesla shares in my 401k. Eventually, I'm gonna have to take advantage of this Fidelity 401k and IRA, crypto IRA and crypto 401k, right? That seems like quite a catalyst for crypto. Let's just put it that way, right? But what I'm getting at is like days like yesterday where MicroStrategy fell, oh my gosh, I don't know what it was, 10%, right? Where you saw, like I said, the lows was $240 a share for MicroStrategy, which we haven't seen that, geez, in years, in over a year, you know? It was a 52-week low yesterday. And the 52-week high, I was looking at it today, was like in the 470s, right? So it's like, if you believe in MSTR like I do, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to buy the dip on this one. You know, because just for it to get back to the same 52-week high, you're talking about almost a 2x. Almost a 2x, just to reach the 52-week high, right? So, you know, and let's say Bitcoin ends at 150K this year, right? Like Michael Saylor has said a bunch of times. And what are you doing? People don't know how to drive here in Wichita, Kansas. I don't know if you guys have ever driven here. But yeah, no, Tom Lee, he's still saying that Bitcoin 150K, 200K is still on the table, right? And I'm definitely pounding the table saying that I think Bitcoin's still going to 150 to 200K by the end of the year. And I might be wrong. Maybe it's next year that it hits that. Okay, that's fine. You know, I'm cool with that. You know, Short-term price targets, I'm not super good at them, but as far as long-term price targets, I'm usually pretty spot on, you know. Not a financial advice, but like this is just how, you know, my portfolio has grown significantly over the years because I do have a long-term mindset, and if things go down, I don't sell them, right? I find that as a buying opportunity. Unless I'm not convicted, then yeah, I'll sell it and I'll never get back in it, right? That happened to me early on in my investing career when I would, you know, buy certain assets that I didn't know enough about and then be like, oh crap, I need to sell my loss and just get out of this asset entirely, right? But now that I'm 31, I've been through this. I've been investing for a decade now, right? I've listened to tons of people with high net worths, you know, and what they see as far as like what the future's gonna look like, right? And so that's kind of how I base my thesis, right? Is like, where do the people that are way smarter than me, where do they put their money? Okay, and then don't just take their word for it. Understand why they put their money there, right? So where do they put it? And then why do they put it there? And then, you know, take steel man the other side, right? Like, take devil's advocate and like look at what can possibly go wrong with Bitcoin. I've already said it on this channel before. The only thing I really see disrupting Bitcoin is quantum computing. I don't see some other crypto coming in and taking over what Bitcoin's doing. I think Bitcoin solidified itself as the reserve currency, as the reserve crypto, as well as, in my personal humble opinion, the reserve currency of the world, right? And I think that if you look at Bitcoin price with respect to basically inflation around the world, it dominates inflation, as well as with respect to, the currencies of the world. There's no comparison. Like, all these currencies go down basically, I don't know how much percent per year, but it's a double digit, if not triple digit number per year. I mean, like I've talked about on this channel before, Bitcoin has a 99% CAGR since inception. Since 2008, 2009, Bitcoin's went up 99% per year, compounded, right? So kind of a big deal, right? And for that to change, for Bitcoin to just utterly fail, there has to be some sort of catalyst for that to happen, right? And you don't hear any, Peter Thiel's, Elon Musk's, Jensen Huang's, Lisa Su's, Sundar Pichai, who else? Jeff Bezos. You don't hear any of them saying, oh, Bitcoin's done for. They don't say that. Like, if they did, they would be like the first mover in that category, saying, hey, Bitcoin's done for, maybe you guys should sell out, right? So what I'm saying is, like, until I see a catalyst for why Bitcoin's going to fail, I don't think it's going to. And there's way more super high net worth individuals that are promoting Bitcoin, saying, hey, this is a hedge against inflation. This is a hedge against all of the governmental corruption. This is a hedge against debasement of your currency. This is a hedge against so many different things. Plus, it's basically digital gold, right? And then you can start paying with it too. You've got all these different companies, Amazon, Walmart, all these big companies that are big that sell consumer products that are now accepting Bitcoin as payment, right? And they've got some sort of lightning network or some sort of network that allows you to essentially converts Bitcoin into USD instantly, and you pay with it, right? So, like, the industry is being built on Bitcoin. The industry is being built on, MicroStrategy itself, with all the different perpetual preferred shares, like the ability to invest so differently, than you did in 2015. And in 2015, there was no stretch, right? There was nothing that you can go buy that's going to give you 10% return a year guaranteed. That didn't exist. Like, you had, if you wanted 10% a year, you're gonna have to go put it in the S&P 500, right? And hope that the S&P 500 doesn't crash. Imagine if you're like retirement age. If you're retirement age, personally, if I'm like over 70 and I want to have like a not a very volatile, I want not a volatile portfolio, right? I want to know how much money I have, even 60s, I want to know how much money I have, and I don't want any sort of 20-30% drawdowns like in a day or in a week or in a month. I don't think I'm going to be about that life. Let's just put it that way. I'm going to want to know how much money I have so I can go on vacation, so I can, buy stuff for my grandkids, my great grandkids. I'm going to want to enjoy my life and not have to worry about any sort of crazy volatility in my portfolio, which you inherently have, even if you're investing in the S&P 500. Even then, you can buy one of the safest assets in the world. But still, in COVID, what did the S&P 500 go down? 20%? Like, that's huge, right? Compared to if you just had stretch, you're making 10% a year and you don't have to worry about anything compared to any of these savings accounts. Like, it's just what Michael Saylor is doing and has done is so innovative and so brand new to the world, right? That the impact has not been seen entirely yet, right? And so if you believe in Bitcoin, I'm going to reiterate it again. I'm going to pound the table. If you believe in Bitcoin, it's almost impossible not to believe in MicroStrategy. And debate me. Debate me in the comments section, guys. Because the historical yield for MicroStrategy has doubled the historical yield for Bitcoin. So there's so many reasons why I like MSTR, so many reasons why I like Bitcoin. And guys, it's really good to see MicroStrategy come up a little bit, and the whole market in general come up a little bit today, because yesterday was a bloodbath, and I know there was a lot of retail investors that were selling their Bitcoin, selling their IBIT, selling their MSTR, and it just makes me sad, you know, to see that and see all these institutions just going and buying it, right? Because it's like there's so much opportunity in these assets, but some retail investors just, they hold too many volatile stocks, and especially if they hold them on margin, then you just don't stand a chance, right? It's like these institutions are gonna get you if you're on margin. So please, guys, don't do that. If you made it to the end of this video, 16 minutes in, you definitely got to subscribe. We make videos on MSTR every single day. Talk about Bitcoin, Tesla, you know, asymmetric bets in the stock market. I also like CoreWeave now. So we really like AI around here, and how AI can impact the future, AI and crypto, you know. So yeah, guys, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your price targets for Bitcoin and MSTR in the comment section below, and have yourself a fantastic evening.